Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Have you had enough video games or are you thirsty for more? Just crack open the case. What's that smell? It's October 1982. We're playing Protector 2 on the Atari line of home computers. Let's see what our next game is. We're next going to play on the TRS-80 Color Computer, or the TRS-80 Coco, and this is Protectors, pluralized, so there must be more Protectors out there. Let's take a look. Starting with the ad you would have seen in magazines, an exciting fast-paced arcade game that looks and plays like the popular arcade game Defender. Haven't heard that one before. This one marks our 140th game that you could be playing on your Coco, the TRS-80 Color Computer. It says wave after wave of enemy fighters drop bombs on us, and we've seen this ad before because I think we've played everything here. Snack Pack, Color Golf, Caterpillar, War Kings, yeah, we're just collecting the whole set around here. There's an example of the screenshot. All right, so we have a manual. It's very, very small. It shows you what we have to play the game, how much it costs on tape or cassette. 32K extended basic for this one. And you can see how it shows you how to load. It shows you what the controls are if you want to use the joystick. Well, I should say you have to use the joystick. It's the left and right joystick. So you have to have a color computer and you have to have two joysticks ready to play this. Two analog joysticks. Not that it's the first time. It's just very strange that it's required to play. Another one by Tom Mix Software. Wow. All right, let's pop in and play some Protectors. At sometime in the beginning of October 1982. This one marks our 10th game that Tom Mix Software has published and brought home. And this one is so quirky. To get this one to work, you have to push the joystick in, the right joystick in. I think I have the right one configured. And you have to hold it down for a second. Sometimes it takes 2 clicks to go through that. This one's by Ron Beatty. Way to go, Ron. Oh, I love it in the chat. Yes, we've played that one too. I mean, plenty of black and white golfs. If you market it as color golf, it's ready to go. All right, so we're going to begin with Attack Wave 1. Go ahead and head in. You can see we are moving to the right, just firing as much as we can to our heart's content. Things to shoot off. I mean, it's pretty impressive with the scrolling, but we have seen functionality a little bit better on the TRS-80 Color Computer. Yeah, big shout out, Curtis, for the help. Thanks so much, because I don't know what was going on. It was very strange how the controllers, I was trying both left and right joystick, and to get this to go in, it took a while. So I'm just constantly shooting, moving up and down the screen. Yeah, this one looks pretty similar, at least graphically, than what we've seen on the TRS-80 Color Computer, and it's not really pushing the limits or boundaries. To tell you the truth, ever since we saw Donkey King on the TRS-80 Color Computer, I now know what's capable, what we can be doing on this home computer. And everything else just seems like, I mean, yeah, it's in color, big deal. We've seen plenty of games in color. Right now we need the TRS-80 3D computer or some other marketing ploy to make us love it even more than that. So this one is really not like Defender because you're not rescuing anyone. There's no people around. Have you noticed there's no one I've actually tried to pick up? I know, right? I should just fly lower and blow some more people. Okay. Yeah, it's essentially just flying around and shooting things up. You can also go a little bit lower if you want to. Yeah, thanks, Scruffy Looking. And if you get through enough of the attack wave, then you go to the next section. The other thing that doesn't make this like Defender is there's no radar or minimap. Notice that there's not something telling me where the enemies are located. And we've already seen that with other Defender-type games. This one marks our 30th game that's trying to be like Defender or similar to Defender as a shoot-'em-up. I know, right? Yeah, Curtis, these controls are very quirky. You have to have 2 joysticks. And so one of the joysticks is controlling the movement of the ship. The other joystick is controlling the firing. It's an unnecessary twin-stick shooter. Well, it's not really a twin-stick shooter, but it's unnecessarily programmed. Why do you need to have 2 joysticks? You really don't. But I mean, it plays well and it functions, and it's all right for a shooter here on the TRS-80 Color Computer. Considering the other Defender-like games you could be playing, though, this one's around the middling to average range. Oh, they got me. Oh man, we're already seeing it thrown off to the landfill. I wouldn't go that harsh. I mean, as far as home computer games go, we have seen some very good arcade-style Defender games. One of the best ones, we're on Attack Wave 3, one of the best ones was on the BBC Micro. That one looked really close to the actual arcade game Defender. It was really nice. I'm already seeing Curtis throw out a 2.5 star. We haven't even played that long. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, yeah, they're saying Recycle Center. That'll work better. Thanks, Chiptune. All right, I'm going to go ahead and quit our playthrough there. It is not as impressive because you're not going through so many levels or types. You notice it was attack waves. We've seen Defender variants that do this where they don't have you continue on to another stage or another area. Reminiscent of like Scramble, going from level to level. We just played one of the best ones you could play on a home computer, Protectors 2, not to be associated with this one. It's a completely different one. So as far as Defender type games go, the only other one that's on the TRS-80 color computer we played was Offender or Offender. And we said that was a little bit above average, 3.5 stars of all the games you could play. I'm looking over in the chat. Yeah, I see 2.5 stars, some middling, lower than average reviews for the games you could play on a home computer. But some of the best that right now you could play on any home computer was the Eliminator. That was a really good one. Looks different on lots of home computers. One of the best was on the TRS-80. And then, of course, Lunar Leaper, which has you rescuing, has a different aesthetic, looks different, but Lunar Leaper is fantastic. And, of course, Planetoid on the BBC Micro, and then the one we just played, Protector 2. So the other thing that has going for it is the dual joysticks. Of all the games we played up to this point, this is the 25th game that requires 2 joysticks, or you can play with 2 joysticks. And on the TRS-80 color computer, we've already played Color Meteoroids, Space War, Laser Star, Helo Battle, and Microbes. So there's already a lot, or a little bit, that you could play with 2 joysticks. I still gotta say, of all the games you could play right now, I'm gonna say around average for the total number of games. I mean, it works. Not super impressive, but it's not doing anything that's drive you away. You can still have an all right time with Protectors. So I'll say 3 stars. Still around the average range. At least that's what I'm seeing mostly from chat too. Or even lower, I see some 2 stars as well. Yes, right? No, right? It is definitely an offender when it comes to that. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. Coming up next is the United Kingdom. We're going to play on our Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and this is The Quest. Just The Quest, another very crazy title that gets lumped in with all the other games, and sometimes you'll completely miss it, and maybe you'll see why. Here's the front of the cassette for The Quest. You can barely make out what that is. It is definitely sci-fi, though. Impact Software, or maybe it's sci-fi. It looks more medieval, I guess, somewhere in between that. Impact Software, which sometimes they change the name. And I haven't confirmed if Software, W-E-A-R, is the same as Software, W-A-R-E. But this one is our 101st ZX Spectrum game right now. This little micro just came out, and we've already played over 100 games on it. It's crazy. And then later it was released by Rico Data, again on the ZX Spectrum. That is a very just terrible box. It doesn't tell you anything about the game. But it is The Quest. I did find an added magazine that was, I think, the year later. And this is The Quest. If you look at the top, it gives you a screenshot. And they gave it really bad reviews. Look down there in the bottom right. So don't get your hopes up when we play The Quest. This one came in a few different versions, like we said before, the re-release and Impact Softwares. Let's pop in and play The Quest. This is Ian Richards at some time in the beginning of October 1982. The beginning of October, still here. I know, right? We need to start saving up our pence to play this. All right, so we can load or save, or we can just quit. I love when the game starts off and they're like, "Do you just want to quit right now? Don't even start. Just go to end." All right, we'll go ahead and play against our better judgment. Now, this one does take a long time to load after this load, so we have to wait for the rooms to line up. I'm going to fast forward us because it does take a while. We're not waiting that long. And here's the game. It just asks you for your move. You have a multiple choice to select. You want an elixir, you want to move, you want to see what your status is, or update, and then exit. They're again giving you the ability to just get out of here. Let's just move. And there's our current quadrant. We're in square 8-1. Let's head west. And all I'm doing is selecting from the multiple choice. It's a multiple choice dungeon crawler. Here, there's a sapphire. Our next move is, let's just move on. We'll keep heading west. That sounds good. Shows us our different directions. Here we found a zircon. Nice. Next move. Let's move on. Hitting M. And I'm just following the commands. Let's go west again. Man, there's a diamond. So we're getting lucky. Obviously, you can tell this is all dice rolls. Lots of randomness happening here. Let's move on. Hitting M. And go west again. Nope. We got a monster here. And music. I feel like we could have played this on the ZX81 and still had the same time. All right, so it's a hobgoblin. Now, here's the battle. It is kind of like a role-playing game, just barely. It's like bare bones role-playing. We have the following choices. We can fire an arrow, light a flare, try bribing the hobgoblin, or retreat. All right, let's fire an arrow. It does. This feels like we're playing on the ZX81. I know, and I feel like it was, I think it said £5 that we saw in the ad. It's super cheap. All right, so we fire an arrow. I didn't see what the hobgoblin did to us. You can see it has a strong head and powerful body. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I hit F. Yeah, to light a flare. Okay, so yeah, so you can see what their stats or what they look like, but I want to fire the arrow, but don't hit F to fire the arrow. Hit E, and you get the little animation. Yeah, I'm already looking over in the chat. This is not one of the best computer games you could play by a long shot. Of all the computer games, this feels like this would be a game you played on the mainframe in late 60s, maybe early 70s. But here, now, at home, not for the first time. If the next option is let's keep firing. Can we kill the hobgoblin? No, I hit F instead. I forgot. F is not to fire. F is to light a flare. All right, so fire the arrow. They're also not utilizing the ZX Spectrum to its full potential. That's the graphics and animation we have. And that's all we get. We're just going to continue firing the arrow. You hit it, makes a half-hearted attempt, and we evade. So it just keeps hitting. We keep hitting the hobgoblin, and we're evading their attack. But that's essentially it. I know, right, Chiptune? Since we're playing every single video game, we're going to see a lot of really just terrible games. All right, so is that it? We're out of arrows? Oh, yeah, let's try bribing it then. Can we bribe the hobgoblin? The hobgoblin says all it wants is your life. This is your life. All right, so let's get out of here. Retreat. Can we leave? You managed to get away without any difficulty. That was plenty difficult. We lost all our arrows. Now we're lost in the middle. Let's use an elixir now. Do you want to take one? Yes. Why? Unfortunately, you don't have any elixirs. Oh, well, why did they give us the option? All right, so next move. Let's go ahead and head west again. Will it let us? Oh, no, it won't because we have to go attack the monster. Yikes. Barely any graphics, barely any gameplay, multiple choice too, so there's a taste of The Quest. Now this one does mark like the 100th video game or 101st video game on the ZX Spectrum, so fire away all your celebratory things, but this one is multiple choice. We played a few other games that do this, like the Black Sage, the Black Forest, Assignment 46, Samurai Warrior, and Final Exam. The first time we've ever seen it as a dungeon crawler, I'll give it that. And this one is Impact Software's 4th game, not really doing the best as far as computer software goes across all home computers, but I will give you this. I'm going to go to the images because at the end, when you look at the title screen, it flashed really, really fast, so we couldn't see it. But the whole point of the game is to find the Holy Grail. So they begin with this Holy Grail. Since we had it fast forward, it skipped past the title screen, which means this marks the first video game, if not one of the first, where the whole point of the game is to go for the Holy Grail. So there you go. That's what the game has going for it. I still say of all the games you can play right now on a home computer, it's bad. It's 1.5 stars, if that. Yeah, I know. I'm looking over the chat. I see actually some 2 stars, mostly some 1.5s. I know, right? Doesn't it seem like a student project? Was this a real game? It was. I see the cassette case and I see the ad, but it doesn't feel like it's a real title. It feels like we could have typed it in from a magazine or something. Yes! Nice one. I love it. All right, so there you go. That's The Quest on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. No more like that. Give us some better games on the Specky. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. Now we're talking the arcades, where it all began, where it's all gonna die, video games at least. This is Radial, released in Japan first. Let's take a look at the advertisement flyers. This marks our 466th arcade game we've played here on the show. I am not familiar with this one, Radial. Now, it was released in North America eventually, first released in Japan by Nichibutsu. Wheels you into new exciting adventures packed with screeching actions. Got a few screenshots for us, and I applaud the advertisement flyers that do that. They show you what the game looks like with actual screens, because this is being sold to the operators. And we also have the one that you saw originally, you know, the Japanese advertisement flyer. Same thing, looks exactly like what we got in North America. I know, right? And it's amazingly done mascot. You're playing as a wheel with firepower. It's awesome. And it looks like something we should... Why hasn't Radial caught on, but Mario caught on? It looks great. You flip over the back and it explains a few things like showing your character off, what different things to avoid in the game, and what the power-ups are. And really, really nice as far as giving you some information. There's the arcade cabinet for Radical Radial, at least when it was released in North America. I don't know if this was the Japanese arcade cabinet, but pretty slick. Gets the job done. There's our control panel, joystick, and we have two buttons. We have a shoot button, and then we have a jump button. And if you want to play with two people, you're going to be alternating play. You don't get to play at the same time. There's the arcade marquee for Radical Radial. Yeah, the artwork is great. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon. Looks fantastic. Why didn't this one catch on? Because I haven't heard of this one or familiar with this one. Radical Radial. We also have the manual, but sadly the only one I have is the instruction manual for the conversion kit. So all it has is a little bit of artwork, information about what you get, power, control, and nothing about the game. So it's just about how to switch the arcade cabinet from one to the other. All right, we're going to the arcade to play Radical Radial. This is by Nichibutsu at sometime in the beginning of October 1982. First seen in Japan. Yes, and I'm going to flip myself to the other side. I like the artwork, and I want to see Radical Radial, which I don't know if he has a name. We'll just call him Radical Radial. So Nichibutsu originally was called Nihon Busan. This is, whether it's Nihon Busan or Nichibutsu, the 12th game that we've seen by them in the arcades. They did Moonbase in 1979, then Rolling Crash, which is essentially Rally X in 1979, and then Moon Cresta, July 1980. After that, it was released as Eagle in other regions in 1980. Then Moon Alien had Moon Alien Part 1 and Part 2 in 1980. Then we got Crazy Climber in October of 1980, and Crazy Climber came home to a home console, the Arcadia 2001, and that's the only thing that Nichibutsu has brought on the home scene, even home computers. Everything else has been in the arcade. After that, they did Moon Quasar, then Frisky Tom, also in October 1981, Moon Shuttle in 1981, Super Moon Cresta, and the last one we saw was Wiping in September 1982. This is their latest. All right, let's put a coin in and see how this plays. This looks awesome. And push and start. Yeah, the attract mode reminds me of that, but we haven't seen the official bump and jump yet. We've only seen Burning Rubber, which was the Japanese release. The North American release of Burning Rubber, which became Bump and Jump, hasn't been seen yet. Okay, so let me explain how the game works. It's essentially like a combination racing and shoot 'em up, because I'm playing as a wheel. But I mean, look at this action. The speed of how you move and the shooting mechanic is great. What makes it even better, though, is you have the fire button, but you also have, oh, look, they came in formation. I thought it was going to be a power-up, but no. No power-ups yet. But you also have the ability to jump. And so you can see the joystick allows me to move in different directions, and I think they told us incorrectly, because there's two buttons here. There's a button to fire, and there's a button to jump, and if I move forward, I can actually increase the speed. Notice if I move closer to the middle of the screen, I can, like, fly to the top. Oh my gosh, and you have all these obstacles to jump over. So the action is intense. I already really enjoyed Burning Rubber when we played it. Oh, and we have music now. Oh, my fire went away. I have no shot now. So now I'm just dodging. Oh, I have a jump. Okay, so my jump button works. My fire just got turned off. So just don't crash into anything. And hear the tunes. The music's really good, too. If I can make it around, and we get some bonus points. I keep feeling like these should be power-ups, but they're not. And I gotta tell you, my playthroughs, I died quite a bit. I'm amazed at how well I'm surviving, because as long as I don't blink, I'll be alright. Nope. I know it's a mixture of multiple games and genres. I'm totally with you. It feels like it's Galaxian mixed with Burning Rubber. And notice they're changing up the layout. Do I have a shot yet? Okay, so no guns. They took away my guns. All I have is to move around, and I reached the goal. So that's stage 1. Stage 1 had 3 sections to it. This game feels like it's ahead of its time. I had to double check and triple check release dates, or whenever it was available. And I know at the end of this year, it'll be North America, like around December. But it's also possible this was released early in 1983, and it also obviously depends on the region. Look, they're even throwing out new enemy types at me. This is fantastic. And I'm even moving slow. You can move faster, just go up to the middle of the screen, but it just gets crazy. You get those bonuses for destroying the enemy patterns, and you have this combination of shooting and jumping. Since we played every single video game, shoot-'em-ups really aren't a new thing. We've even played side-scrolling shoot-'em-ups that incorporate Pac-Man elements. So we've seen a lot. But this one is still very, very impressive and really, really fun. Oh, Marshall, was that a Kiss song they played? Right here? Is that the Kiss? I'm going to listen to it. It might be. Reminds me of when we played Fantasy and they had Funky Town playing on one of the levels. Yeah, this is fantastic. For an arcade game, I could see this just driving home tons and tons of quarters to see how far you could go. They change up the formula from racing and driving. You can see here I'm just dodging cars to a shoot 'em up, and they have the mechanics of very well done shoot 'em ups. And then we go on now to the bonus stage. Yeah, this feels like it's a game from the future. Like I should have seen it around 1983, but this early is so good. So there you go. There's second stage done. You can see over here down the bottom right. Now, level-wise, though, it says I'm on stage 3. It still feels kind of like the other stages. So now I can understand why this would have shown up around October 1982, but this is brand new. It's not giving us, levels that look different or themed differently like it would in a scramble game as you go from stage to stage. But because they call them stages, I want to keep going. They are switching up where the rocks are located that you have to jump over, which is making it really difficult. Yep, like that. You have to time your jump and know when to speed up or slow down. For this game, I flipped the dip switches to give me a few extra lives so I can go on a little longer. So we made it to stage 3, but wow, that is really, really nice. Yeah, I like the combo of game styles, and I love the jump mechanic. This is so new. In a way, this feels like I'm playing Moon Patrol, but from a top-down view. I'm going to put another quarter in. Let's go again. Because Moon Patrol allowed you to, scroll along. It had the parallax scrolling. It was from the side view, but you had the jump over craters or mountain or little rocks like this, and you could also shoot in front. But this one's a lot faster paced. It feels like a perfect mix of shoot 'em up and racing game. I love it. And what's a little rare with these kind of scrolling shooters is this makes me want to play longer and keep going. How many stages can we get through? And if you look down the bottom right, you can see the extra lives that have been added. And Powpuck, I'm not sure about that. The character looks like it should have been. It looks too good for it to be just a video game. Like it had the property there before. There was another game we played in the arcade called Marine Boy, and someone pointed out in the chat that it's possible that that was part of an anime first as well. Was Radial an anime first? Alright, let's see if can we speed up? No. So in this game mode, we also can't speed the screen up moving up. I can just use that to help me dodge, and I have my jump only, but they took the guns away. Switching the gameplay up, though, is what makes this really nice. Plus, the bonus stage is really good, too. I want every time I put a quarter in to add a star to the to the rating. I'm already thinking this is at least 4 of all the games you could play right now. Because the combination of let's make a shoot 'em up, but also a racing game is fairly new. Like shoot 'em up racing, and then the vehicular combat style of video game is awesome. And here's the bonus stage. How long can you go until you get to the end? Just rack up as many points as you can picking them up. A few of the games that act like this would be Sega's Borderline, or it's also called Star Raker in 1981, and then, of course, Burnin' Rubber. We will see Bump and Jump before the end of the year, the actual one that was in North America. But there's not a whole lot you can compare this to. This is one of the reasons I love doing this show. Seeing genres collide. So yeah, as you move from stage to stage, they're essentially just adding more rocks in your way. So you have to shoot, no one to shoot, and no one to jump. Oh, the firepower is so much fun. Sound effects are great. I mean, look at the color. When I mentioned before about the games called Swimmer or Marine Boy, how the depth of color and the scrolling was the beginning of we're leaving the golden age of arcade games. This is essentially where arcade games are going to go, but this one plays even better than those, and is a lot more fun. Yeah, when this came out, I could see myself spending a lot of time on this one. So much fun. Oh, there you go. Brian's already thrown out solid 4, maybe 4.5. When they switch it to the car or driving stage like this, you have to remember all you can do is jump. There is no shoot. You can't blow things out of your way. And the patterns now have changed. As you go from stage to stage, you got to dodge a little bit better. What is that, the police car? I also want to look up, is Radical Radial, is there like lore somewhere in Japan of what this is? I don't think Gene Simmons got any royalties on this one. And I really appreciate everyone watching for the live show, because most of these songs that show up in games are public domain. You know, songs from 1700s or 1800s classical music. But then every now and then they slip in a song that they should have gotten the rights for, and they most likely didn't. Alright, yeah, this is a blast. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. Of all the games you could play in the arcade, I'm starting this at 4 stars. And I've already seen some ratings around above average, at least, in the chat. But I'm going to say, of all the games you could play right now in the arcade, this mashup of genres is so rare right now. And on Bump and Jump, I said 5 stars. It was a very well done game. This one is still one of the best games you could play in the arcade. I'm going to go 4.5 stars for Radical Radial. I love the driving mechanic. I love the shooting mechanic. I love how it's fast-paced. And it goes from stage to stage. It feels like this is a game we're going to be seeing from 1983 or 1984, and this is the game that will eventually start rating as a 3-star game in 1984. But right now, it's much better than that. All right, so I see, yeah, revising to a 4, nice. Oh, that's true, Chiptune. It definitely is not it's not Time Pilot. And if I knew what Time Pilot was, I would tell you that it would show up before we finish this year in 1982. I know, right? It needs to be that way. I want to be able to see more of Radical Radial or play more games like this. The patterns of the enemies that you're shooting to is the new wave. It's like Galaxian, Galaga, which is still very fresh and very new. All right, so there you go. Sadly, all our quarters are gone. We have to put our video game playing on pause and play another day. Thanks again for tuning in, watching me play every single video game in order of release. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we've played Pong sports games, we've played good sports games, we've played bad sports games. Now, it's time to play real sports games. That's it for today, and like I always say, just slap a gun on it and the kids will love it. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.